All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99 back with another quick post-fight discussion video. I meant to do this one yesterday, but I was kind of busy, but I wanted to get my thoughts on this one because y'all know some of y'all asked me about this fight and, basically want to know what I think of the performances of these two fighters, Tabatha Ricci and Loopy Godinez. First off, I got to say, was it a good fight? Yes. Did we learn some things about these fighters? Yes. Did we see what they need to improve and where they need to improve, what they possess? What they lack? Yes, all those questions were answered. Do I think Loopy won the fight clearly? Yes. Tabatha Ricci, did she put up a good fight? Yes. Did I see a possible top 5 contender in this fight? No, not yet. I'm just being real, y'all. Just got to speak the truth. I think Loopy clearly won the fight. It could have been 30-27 her way, 29-28, whatever you had it. I could, 30-27. I could see it. I could see that. 30-27 for Loopy. But as far as taking that next level to top 5 or top 3, there's still some work that needs to be done. And that's okay. That's what we need to see. I mean, this is Loopy's first time getting into the top 10. This first time getting a top 10 opponent. You know what I mean? Like, this is her first time fighting somebody on this level. And maybe there was a level of pressure there. But also, I think, Loopy's been fighting a lot. She's got 4 wins this year. She's been staying really active, maybe too active, and maybe that kind of puts it kind of puts a pause on her chances to improve as a fighter as she goes along. She's staying active by getting the experience, but I don't think she's taking the time out to kind of soak up new game. You know what I mean? And just take the time to rest and recover physically and mentally. And I can understand they need the money. These fighters need the money. So sometimes, it's like, hey, I got to get the fight when they offer it. Or if this fight slot is open and nobody's answering, shoot, I'll take it because the money's looking good right now, right? So I think there's situations like that. But I think if Loopy wants to get to the top 5 or get a shot at the belt, she's going to have to start slowing the pace down next year, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But, yeah, after looking at the performance of Loopy this past Saturday, I can definitely say that she's got some good skill sets. She can do a little bit of everything. But, again, I don't think I won't say, well, let me say this. This wasn't a fight where we could say she's really like a well-rounded fighter because she didn't really go in there for too many takedowns in this fight, right? She didn't really showcase her wrestling and grappling. She showcased more so her boxing and her striking ability, which was good, And even then, it wasn't really like kickboxing or even more time. It was just pure boxing. Like, I think she had she showed a good case of like her boxing element here where she can put the pressure on, time you, and even, set up a beautiful left hook like she did and drop Tabatha Ricci in this fight. But there still has to be some other levels shown from Loopy to move forward. Like in the past, when the fighters you've seen get the belt or the fighters that you knew were going to get to the top 5, there was a dominant factor about them. There was a dominant factor about Joanna. Joanna, Wei Lee, Jessica Andrade, even Rose Namajunas. Whenever you've seen all these fighters on the come up, to me, every time I seen them, I said, they're going to touch the belt. At some point, these 4 fighters, at one point when I seen them, I was like, they'll probably touch the belt at least once or twice in their career. Even Carla, because Carla, she had the experience over a lot of these girls, and the way she could just like go in there and, dive for them ankles and take these girls down and just drown them because her wrestling was so much better than these other girls. I was like, okay, she could get the belt too. She could get the belt at some point. But going back to even like Joanna, Joanna wasn't knocking out a lot of girls, but she was dominant. She would control a fight. She would control it her way and her way only in a fight. You weren't going to do your thing in there. She was going to do her thing. Same with Wei Lee and Andrade. They finish you because they had that force about them where they wanted to leave no stone unturned. They wanted to destroy. And I think Loopy, she has some athletic ability and some burst and power, and she has that strength where she be picking girls up. But sometimes, she's not fully storming in on them, and I know the game's evolved, but still, like, you got to go in there and storm these girls. There was a lot of room left in here where Tabatha Ricci could make herself look good. Now, she didn't win a round to me, or she didn't win a fight, but Tabatha Ricci was still able to touch Loopy in this fight. So looking at the fight real quick, I mean, 30-27 was fine with me. I think it was a well-earned 30-27, like J.J. Aldridge versus Montana. Tabatha Ricci, she did make a good showing of her striking. I think it was a little underrated going into this fight because she was touching Loopy with some shots that I didn't even see. You know, they were going up the middle, and I mean, she pinged Loopy at the end of the first round and buckled her and about dropped her. She returned the knockdown favor. You know, Loopy put her down in the first round. Tabatha Ricci about put her down at the end of the round, but I gave the round to Loopy. Second round was probably the closest round I could give to Ricci because, you know, she was putting combinations together, but she was staying on the back foot and she was still getting hit with big shots. And every shot that Loopy would hit Ricci with would move Tabatha Ricci. So I had to go with the more damaging punches as far as, you know, moving, strength, and pressure. Third round, you know, I had to give that one to Loopy again. You know, I thought she took control, was landing that left hook again and again, and just putting that right hand over the guard. And I thought she just clearly outstruck her. It was like, what, 99 significant strikes to like 69. I mean, sometimes you can't look at the numbers, but in this case you can because you got a fighter that's coming forward, putting pressure on, moving somebody with shots, knocking them down, hurting them, you know. So, yeah, I had to give it to Loopy clearly. But like I said, with this fight, there were questions answered, of course. But the one big question, you know, I was, you know, asking people too, you know, can Loopy be like top 5? Because I was kind of seeing something in her. I think it's there. It kind of depends on how the division turns out too. But it also depends on the pace she continues to fight at. You know, yeah, it was good that she got like 9 fights in the UFC in like 3 years to get the experience. But now I think if she goes for the belt, she should slow it down now. Like, don't keep answering the call, taking unranked fighters or fighters below you. You know, you got to start slowing it down, maybe fighting 2 times a year now. So I can see why some fighters do slow it down to 2 times a year, because the better the competition is, the more time you got to put in to train and get better as a fighter, right? You just can't go in there and say, oh, this is going to give me the experience I need. Like, no, a controlled environment in training environment is a controlled environment. That's the time you can actually learn. You know, but whenever you're actually in the cage, there's a different type of pressure. You know, your life's on the line, your career's on the line, so you don't really have time to learn. Like, there's a level of learning, but not as far as getting better as a fighter. You know, it's the same thing as taking a test and doing homework. Like, if you fail this final exam, say if you fail this chemistry exam once, right? You don't keep taking it over and over and over and over thinking you're gonna get better. No, because you don't know the answers. You know, you don't know the answer because you haven't taken the time to learn, you know. So what you got to do is do the homework at home in a controlled environment over the next course of 4, 5, 6 months, however long it takes. Then you come back, right? Because if you keep taking that same exam over and over and over, the pressure's on you. There's a time limit, and you don't know this stuff, right? You're just process of elimination, and you're learning it on the fly by trial and error, you know. So it's the same thing with fighting, you know. It's kind of similar to fighting. So I mean, Loopy's probably learning when she goes back and watch the tapes, but again, she's watching the tapes in a controlled environment where she can slow her mind down and say, oh, this is what I need to do, right? So yeah, that's what it is for Loopy. Same thing with Tabatha Ricci. You know, she's in the top 10 or top 11 now, or top 15. I think same thing with her. She got to slow the pace down now, because as the girls get better, you know, you got to take more time out to train. But yeah, I gave it to Loopy clearly, 30-27. From here, I think she should maybe return in the spring. You know, give her time to learn and fight the loser of Andrade Dern, which is Mackenzie Dern. So matchmaking Monday, Loopy versus Mackenzie Dern. Because now that she's here, I'm not going to say you need to slow it down as far as, oh, we fight backwards. No, like, you here now. Loopy's here top 10. So now, to get better, you slow it down, learn from your mistakes, come back at a later date, and you take on that veteran of Mackenzie Dern next. That's what I think. What do y'all think, guys? Combo breaking. Or, hey, I'm going to say it again. Now, Marina Rodriguez, you know, she's shooting for Suarez. She's shooting higher. But, I mean, if they made Suarez versus Rodriguez, I would still take that fight. But I think Dern versus Loopy's good. I think Tabatha Ricci versus Carolina would be all right. Or Tabatha Ricci versus Angela Hill. Yeah, keep it in the top 15 now, y'all. Let's keep it in the top 15 and keep it moving and start showing that dominant factor. But that's all I got on this, guys. Let me know what y'all think. Make sure y'all subscribe to y'all's favorite WMMA channel. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Peace.